tell you a little bit about himself.
I'm going to sing a song and you guys are going to help, because there's a lot better singers out there than me, I know you. And I can't go right into the song. My voice isn't just that good. So I want to talk a little bit about Bob. He was a dear friend. As Mindy pointed out, knowing him for the last 8 years, he was a giving person. It didn't start 8 years ago. It started, I can attest to, back in 1974 when I first met him. So I'll tell you a little bit about how we met. The first time I met Bob, I got into a car, and I was with a good friend of mine who was Bob's drummer at the time, Georgie Cooper. And Georgie said, come to the club. I want you to come see the band. I said, great. Now, I was 16 years old. I was in high school, and I hop into this car, and we were driving, and we're almost to the club. It was a club in New Jersey. And Georgie says to Bob, hey, Bob, we got to figure out how to get Carl into the club. He's only 16. And Bob says, well, you can use my cards. He goes, but I'm 29. So, guess what? He got me into the club. It worked. And that was the first day I met Bob. I'll move up a few years now. It's 1977, and I get a call from Georgie, and Georgie says, hey, I'm going to move to Las Vegas. Nobody knows. You got to keep it a secret. But Bob wants you to audition for the band. I said, really? Wow, audition for Cathedral. This is like a life dream of mine. I said, who else is going to audition? And he said, well, it's you and Franny Spadaro. Franny Jars, we call. Franny's sitting right here. So I said, what? I said, Franny's a great drummer and a great singer, and I'm not. How could Bob be auditioning both of us? He said, this is what Bob wants to do. Well, we both auditioned, and naturally, Fran was his first choice. And Fran couldn't take the job. He was tied up with another band at the time, and the Georgie schedule of leaving and Fran's schedule of coming didn't work. So Bob called me and said, you got the job. And I said, Bob, this doesn't make sense to me. I mean, you tried. You auditioned myself and you auditioned Franny, and it's like, it's night and day. This doesn't compute. He said, well, he said, it does. He said, he goes, really what I care about is your personality. And you and Franny both have great personalities. And that's what I care. So he hired me. And he gave me my start in music, which really affected my entire life. We became really close friends, I think the summer. And I'm not going to lose it here, I promise. We played for 6 summers consecutively down the shore in New Jersey. And Bob and I walked hundreds of times on the beach, walking talks, for hours and hours at a time. And what we really had in common were 2 things. Performing music. We really didn't have music in common because we were sort of different eras. We didn't have the same kind of likes and dislikes. And really, Bob didn't have a favorite artist. He liked exactly what the song was for the party at that moment. That was his favorite song, which made him a great song caller and a great DJ. And I like bands. I like my favorites. But we really intersected in performing music. But where I think there was a much deeper connection is we were both searchers, just inherently searchers. And those hundreds of conversations, I would bet that every single one of them touched on, if was not centered around, the meaning of life, why we're here, and what this is all about. And I can tell you from those conversations, back in that started in the summer of '78, Bob was prepared for what happened to him on the 25th of July. He got it, and he was, with that attitude, he shared himself like very few people I know. I'll miss him. He was a stubborn guy in a lot of ways. We know that, those of us who know him well. And he was also one of the best listeners I've ever come across. He was a great teacher. He was a great friend. He was a man of little possessions, but he gave an enormous amount of himself. So I was asked to sing a song, and I picked Imagine by John Lennon. And
Oh, God.
so I'm going to ask you to help me.
Before you start,
Yeah.
introduce the band to people.
oh my gosh,
The
people of the bands.
We want to know who they
There are so many, well, like I mentioned Franny Spadaro. I'm just looking around here. Hopefully I won't miss anybody. Put your hand up twice, you know who you are. Plays in the band. Bob's in the back. Bob Bounty. Kathy and Jim and Steve and Linda and Mike. Who else did I miss? I mean, there's so many friends from back then. You know, starting with Missy. It was just an enormously heartwarming group of people. Donna in the back. Donna was before, when I was dreaming about being in a band like Cathedral as a drummer. Donna was singing in Cathedral at the time. So, yes, Linda. Absolutely, Linda. So I think these people may sing later. I hope they do. They're going to do a way better job than I will. But I want to try and get through Imagine, and I would ask you to help me. The last time I sang the song for Bob was actually about 3 years ago. He was visiting, and I said, "Hey, I'm working on this new vocal processing technique. I got to let you hear it." And so, you know, he put some headphones on. I sang it for him, and he said, I stopped in the middle. And he said, no, keep going. It's really good. So the vocal processor worked, and you'll know that when you hear me sing it without a vocal processor. This is probably the first time in my life I've ever sang without reverb. So please help me. We need loud music here. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today and high. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one. Imagine no possessions. It's easy if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one, because my friend Bob was there with me, I'm telling you. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Wow, that was beautiful, wasn't it? Busy?
Where's the hard act to follow?
It's up to you.